Hello, so this is a short video about reasons why people could or should hold XRP or not, and how they more or less should go on. Because what I've seen, well, quite a lot in the XRP space is that lots of people try to find meaning in almost everything. So there are lots of people trying to do the whole gematria thing, whatever, just taking random sentences people say and then trying to connect the dots more or less. So it's not about normal dot connecting, like things that might even correlate or where links are. It's basically blatantly absurd. And I don't want to be mean to anyone, so anyone who wants to believe into that stuff, why not? I'm just telling you that sometimes so I think it's the best investment strategy. So I am not a financial advisor. I am also not really that old. I don't have that much life experience to really tell you much about investing. But the only thing I can tell you here is that from a technical standpoint, more or less, you should obviously look at partnerships, look at how the ecosystem is growing, or what other things offer. Obviously, there are things happening in the background, more or less, quote unquote, in the background. So obviously, not everything is being seen by the public eye. That's fine, but I would rather highlight that you just know. So you obviously shouldn't also be invested into one project. Maybe it's also good that you have a few good projects, so it can also really tell you what the best strategy there is. So many people like to invest into lots of different assets. Some people like to concentrate their economic power into certain investments. Uh, only thing I want to highlight here is it's probably a nice thing if you would like just try to educate a little bit, try to educate yourself. So it's more like really looking into the technology and into space, trying to actually to understand the space. So like for example, to try things out, that you for example set up a test wallet. So I don't know if all of you, for example, have hardware software wallets. If you maybe also maybe try to understand how the different consensus mechanisms work. For example, what is proof of work? What is proof of stake? What is pure proof of stake? What is delegated proof of stake? What is a well? I just have to think of a random verifiable function or whatever. How does the RPCA, so the Ripple consensus algorithm, actually work? What are validators? So, or what is a blockchain? Where are my funds stored? So it would be, I guess, a nice thing if you first understand why, for example, a certain investment is good or bad, and you shouldn't question yourself all the time. And like I said, what I see a lot on Twitter is like all the riddlers and stuff like that. And it's basically people always blurring out dates and trying to say random dots and whatever, random dates and all of that. And I'm just wondering if this is really a good idea to always try to make meaning of all of this. So I don't know. So it will play out how it plays out. So nobody can tell. Also not the riddlers, and also I can also tell you how it's gonna be. So it's probably also like with all the TAs, with all the chart analysts, it's a probability game. So no, so for example, there are projects out there we can know, for example, that this project might fail, that the chances, the probability is higher that it fails than that it succeeds, but it can succeed, for example. So the crypto space, we've seen very interesting developments with certain assets. So sometimes, even, so that's the thing here. And for example, also cool. So yeah, so the part there is it's also like I said, you don't have to try to find meaning in all of it. I just remember the tweets of somebody. So they're also you don't trust everything and don't believe everything somebody posts online. Because well, the last tweet I remember was somebody claiming, yeah, on July the 4th there's a settlement, and I was like, oh, interesting that somebody claims it, and obviously I knew that's absurd. Well, also on a holiday. Why would they sell on a holiday? But furthermore, the person then claimed, obviously, yeah, I've got close connections. Yeah, it's a reliable source without naming anyone or anything. And like I said, and also then if there's some YouTube channels out there which are always making these absurd statements. So sometimes it's really best not. So obviously understanding what it is, obviously understanding what it solves or what the problem is, but also being realistic. So now I know sometimes it's nice having like these cool theories about how whatever, what is it, like these crazy theories that the price is gonna be $1 million, something like that. So I don't want to make any price predictions, but there's so much clickbait out there. There's so much, I don't know, like, yeah, watch this video and and the price is gonna skyrocket after you watched it. So it's probably nice staying up to date. It's probably nice to understand what changes in space, and it's also nice probably to be a little bit rational always there, and don't question yourself all the time. Like, oh my gosh, maybe there's the next piece of information I missed, and then let's connect the dots, and now let's take some random numbers and try to whatever. And now let's look at these cool comics and stuff like that. So, like I said, I don't try to be mean here to anybody. I'm just trying to say that you should be probably realistic, and it will happen the way it happens, more or less. So yeah, that's it. I would also recommend not checking the charts 24/7, since you should go on with your everyday life. You should obviously not only focus on and devote your entire life only crypto. There's more to it than that. So, but these are just, like I said, my 2 cents on the entire matter. I like I said, it's just something that's a little crazy, like I said, seeing the riddlers and stuff like that. So to me it counts a little bit like entertainment, so maybe some people like the entertainment, think it's fun, but there are probably also like lots of people who actually believe that. And there's a YouTube channel I've got in my mind, but I will not name it right now. But this channel shouts out always the weirdest dates and the weirdest Twitter feeds, and is always wrong. So none of his predictions were ever right. So in this channel, it's quote unquote happening all the time. So every day it's happening basically. And then there are these fake emails, fake tweets, or also stuff. So, but usually, so whenever a tweet is being shown there, it's usually just somebody lying about something, or also sometimes the source is unreliable or fake sources. Also, like with the manipulated charts, like there are sometimes also videos where the chart data is manipulated. So to quickly show you that it's super easy, just, even told you it one time, that you can just go to any website and just go to the click on right click and go to inspect, and then you can just obviously change all the data because it's only HTML. So the first site request it gets down quote unquote downloaded to your computer, and then you can just interfere with the HTML data here. So you could, for example, add these crazy numbers there, and then, for example, oh wow, ooh, crazy, it's happening, guys, it's happening. So right, so these are just my viewpoints here. So they're great sources to actually better understand the XRP ledger, for example, to better understand how that works. It would be awesome if you really try to, so for those people who are interested, to really try to understand how all of it works. So what actual crypto is, you obviously don't have to become a programmer, but to get a basic understanding is not too bad here. And right, so this is like the first video where I'm not trying to do something educational, where I'm just basically saying what I think would be wiser. So it's more or less advice. So it's not financial advice, but it's more or less, yeah, advice how you could play the game here. Um, right. So these are basically the concepts I wanted to state here, because, like I said on my channel, usually I didn't intend to put too much of my opinion in it. So this is the first video where I'm actually stating lots of my opinion here. Usually I'm just making tutorials and showing hands-on videos on how you can achieve and do things, and also to explain concepts in the crypto space. But yeah, this is like the first time I'm actually, well, giving out advice or voicing my opinions here. So right, so as you can see here, you can go to docs. There's much. I know sometimes it's a little bit boring to go through the things here, and it's gonna take time. It's work. So to understand things, so to understand basically also understand how for example photography works, the background there. There are great sources out there. Just go online, just look for basically all the other sources there. There's lots of material out there about photography, about their videos explaining, for example, different concepts. And this is also going to make you a little bit more, well, quote unquote, educated, obviously. And it's also going to make you less prone to believing, well, fake news. So basically, unreliable statements. For example, things that are technically impossible. So then you can, for example, question that and even understand if that's even works. And right, so yeah, that's basically it. So like I said, a main point here is don't try to find meaning in everything. Don't try to, well, more or less, always share these strange theories and strange stuff that is out there. And actually try to find good reasons, rational reasons why you more or less, quote unquote, invest into something. And obviously, yeah, so it's your part if you want to diversify, if you want where you want to concentrate your investments. It always depends on one's life situation. And yeah, that's basically it. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video.